Hi all, welcome to i-tutor Academy. In today's session, we will start with the unit 14 Mmpc 009. It's the last unit of Mmpc 009, that is waste management. So this is also important for a company. So in this unit, we will discuss conceptualize waste, realize the scope and need for a system approach to waste management, and identify the multidisciplinary character of waste management, and establish the relationship between wastivity, productivity, and resource management, and realize the need for adopting a preventive policy of waste generation, devise and apply suitable means for waste reduction, and realize the importance of devising good system for waste collection and recycling and disposal, appreciate the necessity for introducing concept of waste in the traditional input output model, and devise a method of cost accounting for waste. And structure of this unit are: there is an introduction part and complementarity of waste management and resource management, taxonomy of waste, definition of wastivity, gross and net wastivity, the functional classification of waste management, and outline of IOW, that is input output waste model, and treatment of wastage in cost accounts, concluding remarks and summary, keyword section and self assessment section also here in this unit. So we will start with the introduction part. The diverse and seemingly boundless development taking place in industry bring with them a whole new series of complexities associated with the waste. From a system viewpoint, waste is any unnecessary input or any undesirable output from any system encompassing all type of resources. That is, waste management is a multidisciplinary activity involving engineering principles, economic, urban and regional planning, management techniques, and social science to minimize the overall wastivity of the system under consideration. Okay, that is the waste management. A systematic approach to waste management encompassing the waste of all kind of resources at all stages should be adopted. However, as the material constitutes a major fraction of the total product cost, and material waste are of a critical importance, and complementarity of waste management and resource management. So here is input processing and output system is there. So here is waste is here, that is recycle and dispose in two ways. Some waste are recycle and some waste are disposal. Okay, so in recycle there is input also there, in processing is there, so it will get an output, and in disposal also there is an output only, and again it come out of some waste also there, it also recycle or dispose. Okay, so that is the one cycle of input processing output system. And a system basically takes some input processing it and give the desired output as shown in figure 1. So this is figure, and some input is essential and in whatever form for the function of a system. An ideal system is conceptualized to transform the total input into useful or desirable output. And in view of the non physical law of nature, the existence of an ideal system is not possible, and 100% utilization of resource is not practically possible for any system. So to paraphrase, some waste is inevitable in the functioning of any system. Okay, so 100% waste management is not possible, anyway waste is there. Okay, at last, and the main objective of waste management is to minimize the waste, thus aiming at the ideal system. And while the resource management aim to maximize the utilization of the resources, and the goal of waste and resource management is same, and optimal utilization of the available resource for higher efficiency and the growth of the system. And but the approaches are different, and the relationship of waste and resource management is shown in here. So, figure 2 is here. So here is resource, and it utilize, and but there is a waste also there, right? And here is optimal resource utilization, and there is management is there, and to minimize the waste is here, and resource management and to maximize the utilization. Okay, so some resources maximum utilization is there, but also at the same time minimize the wastage. That's a complementary relationship of waste management and resource management. And it can be said that the waste and resource management are complementary to each other. If one is primal formulation of a problem, the other is a dual, and both approaches have their advantages and limitations depending upon the situations, the constraint, and primary and secondary objectives. Resource management techniques prove to be promising in some cases, and while in other, waste management offers an added advantage. And next is taxonomy of waste, the science or technique of classification of waste. And lack of coordinated work in the field of waste management has given rise to multiplicity of terms and definitions of various type of waste. The need for standardization of the nomenclature has been felt for systematic research and effective implementation of waste management program. And waste can be classified in a variety of ways depending upon the purpose of for which the classification is done, and there could be four basic classification is there. So this is the resource based classification of waste. So use your Igno study material Mmpc 009 unit 14, you will get this figure and analysis. Okay, so waste, there is energy, space, time, capital is there, and material, man life, data, information, and utilization is there. So in capital there is waste of capacity, equipment or machine hours. Inventory is there. In energy there is physical, human, solar energies are there. In material, solid, liquid, gases are there. And in utilities and services, transportation, communication, health service, etc. are in utility and service. And in man life there is loss of life, under or employment, effort and skills. And in data there is under data, wrong information, information utilized. So these are the categories under this resource based classification of waste. On the basis of resource waste, the various type of resources are wasted at various stages in the system, and taking the resource as a basis, the classification of waste is shown in figure 3. So this is the classification of waste. Okay, and on the basis of source of origin, the source of origin may serve as an efficient and practical way or classifying waste, that is agriculture waste, industry, municipal, residential or domestic, and commercial construction and demolition, etc. And on the basis of property, the classification is mean for material waste only, and depending upon the property that affect the environment, waste may be of two type, that is hazardous and non-hazardous. On the basis of recoverability, as per the characteristics of resource, and the waste may be recoverable and non-recoverable. Some waste that can be converted into some useful resources, and that is material waste, energy waste, reused in the process. Okay, but some waste are non-recoverable. So that is the classifications. Next is definition of wastivity or gross and net wastivity. And most of the productivity measure at present compare the total output to individual input versus material, energy, manpower, and capital, etc., while they usually fail to directly compare the fraction of a particular input that goes into output. Further, it is difficult to measure the output of various individual input invested in various finished product, whereas it is comparatively easier to assess the waste of various input. And hence a new concept of wastivity has been propounded that can serve as an adequate measure of performance of any system and is rather easy to measure. And wastivity of any system is defined as the ratio of the waste to the input. Wastivity is equal to waste divided by input. Okay, and depending upon the level of waste under consideration, the wastivity may be categorized as gross wastivity and net wastivity. And the gross wastivity is defined as the ratio of total waste generated by a particular system to the total input to the system, and gross wastivity is equal to total waste generated by total input. And however, a fraction of total waste generated is intermediate to the system and get recycled, and thus the net waste to be disposed of or reused in other system is less than the gross waste generated. Net waste is equal to total waste minus generated waste recycled within the system, and the ratio of the net waste is to be disposed to the total input to the system is termed as net wastivity, and the net wastivity will be dependent on the extent of recycling, and net wastivity is equal to net waste generated divided by total input. And wastivity as a performance measure, an ideal or perfect system will be one that consumes just the right amount of resource, leaving no ideal and unutilized, that is non-recoverable or lost resources or any undesirable output. And the presently non-law of nature obviates the existence of any such an idea system, indicating that the occurrence of waste is inevitable. And the concept of wastivity, which is yet in the rudimentary stage, may prove to be a good measure of performance, both at a macro and micro levels, and will be helpful in the sound planning and monitoring of various systems at a different level of hierarchy. And wastivity and productivity. Waste can indirectly serve as a good measure of productivity. Productivity of any system has been defined as ratio of the desired output to input. And most of the productivity measures at present compare the total output to individual input and versus labor, material, energy and capital, etc., while they usually fail to directly compare the fraction of a particular input that goes into output. And hence a new concept of wastivity had been propounded, which can serve as an adequate measure of performance of any system and is rather easy to measure. And here is an equation based on that, so please go through the IGNO study material. And the wastivity for each type of input, this indirectly assess the productivity for each type of input. Both productivity and wastivity are complementary to each other, which bears in it inherent cause and effect phenomena. If the cause wastivity is checked, the effect, that is productivity, will automatically be improved. Okay, so this is about today's section, and one more section is there in this MMPC 009 that we will discuss on another video. And input in any doubts, you can just contact us anytime or comment on our comment box. For more MBA series, you just do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.
i-tutor Academy presents IGNOU MBA complete syllabus coverage classes for individual students, semester-wise subject with online and flexible timing. For more details, contact on +916 238 217885.